Tonight I had the thought come across my mind, what would happen if my life turned upside down and everyone I knew and trusted turned on me, and everything as I knew was changed? And it made me realize the root of that question is, what do I believe? And what's the foundation of that belief? And it came back to, at the beginning of my walk, I counted the cost of what it meant to follow Jesus. And when I counted the cost, I thought through that scenario of, what if I had to follow Jesus alone? Do I believe in him and trust him enough that I would follow him by myself? Because if not, my faith isn't real. It's not founded on Jesus. If my faith is based on other people and what they believe and what they're doing, I don't have true faith and true belief of my own. It would crumble if I'm depending on those people, if they ended up turning away from following Jesus themselves. And it made me wonder how many people are believing something based on other people. For example, if you grow up in a household where your parents teach you a certain way of life and you have a faith, then most likely you grow up believing it just because it's what you're raised in. But what would happen when your parents pass away or they turn away from their faith? Does your faith suddenly crumble? And for me, that became a harsh reality the day that my mom passed away, because though I had faith of my own and I had counted the cost, it really did put my faith in the fire to be tested. And I realized at any point that could happen with anybody and with anything. And if my faith is founded on anything other than Jesus and knowing what I believe and knowing what I have faith in, then it's not true faith and it's unfounded. I also just had a few verses on my mind, and I'll just go ahead and read them. It's in Matthew 24, and these verses have just been on my mind and my heart a lot recently. And I'll start in verse 3 of Matthew 24. And as Jesus sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of your coming, and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye shall not be troubled. For all of these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall arise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And I'm reading this just thinking, some people have gone through a lot of trials, but there's some that have not. And regardless, there are more things to come. And if our foundation is not in Jesus and we're not putting on the armor of God daily, then when these things come upon us, we have to consider, are we really ready? Are we keeping our faith strong? Are we staying strong with Jesus? And what is our faith truly in? Because if it's not in him, it's going to crumble, especially when all these things begin to come to pass. There was one other verse I wanted to read. It's later on in the chapter, verse 24. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. And that part just reminds me that if we are not staying close to Jesus and hearing his voice and staying in tune with him, then how are we going to make it if even the elect would be deceived? It just is a heavy warning and a reminder in these times, as the end is getting closer, that